Welcome to the Whisky Business Podcast, where we dive into the rich and fascinating world of whisky and the equally complex landscape of business. I'm your host, Ash Playsted, here to guide you through conversations that blend the culture and enjoyment of great whisky with the craft of building lasting business success. Each episode will be an exploration of the subtle connections between the smooth complexities of a fine dram and the strategic decisions that shape thriving enterprises. So pour yourself a glass, settle in, and join us as we discover how passion and precision make all the difference in both whisky and business. Hello. Ash Playsted here, host of the Whisky Business Show. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, all that jazz. It's 2025. I hope wherever you are in the world, you had a fantastic festive season, and 2025 proves to be a very happy, healthy, and prosperous year for you and yours. Now, let's get down to some whisky business. So, I recently had a very unexpected and excellent experience, both around whisky and business. So I'll get to the business part in a minute. But the whisky I want to talk about before I get to that is a fabulous whisky, which I'll reach over here to the collection and grab. So this is from Bunnahabhain, which is a fabulous smaller distillery on the far northeast coast of the island of Islay, which is off the west coast of southern Scotland. I've spoken about Islay a lot. It's really the home of peaty single malt whisky in the world. So Bunnahabhain is a fantastic little distillery. The reason I love it so much is its discoverability. It's hard to get to. It's boutique. It makes fantastic whisky. It's a really great experience. So if you're ever in Scotland, do yourself a favour. Get to Islay. There's some fantastic distilleries on Islay, obviously, but my favourite is Bunnahabhain. Now, I'll relate the story about how Bunnahabhain connects to business in a moment. But this is the 12-year-old, 2022 edition, 12-year-old cherry spiced, unpeated, cask strength edition. So this has a 56.6% ABV. It's a fantastic, peaty, smoky, deeply rich, spicy whiskey. Fabulous. Have a look at that bottle. I love Bunnahabhain cask strength. So cask strength simply means it's a whiskey drawn pretty much straight from the cask after its maturation period. There's no water added. It's not distilled down to a lower ABV. So it's straight from the cask. So aficionados of single malt Scotch whisky, we love cask strength. It's got a fair kick to it. It's not for the faint-hearted. So this will, if you're not an experienced whisky drinker, this will probably suck the oxygen right out of your lungs. But I love it, and love the distillery. So that's a fantastic whisky. And if you'll bear with me, I will read you a little bit of the distilling and the tasting notes straight from the container that whiskey comes in. So this 12-year-old cask strength Bunnahabhain is matured on the remote northeast coastline of the Isle of Islay. As I mentioned, our location impacts our whisky in a big way, drawing on the abundance of clear spring water and ever-changing coastal climate to deliver a unique, unpeated Islay single malt whisky. Bottled at cask strength, the rich flavours showcase the classic sherry-influenced house style of Bunnahabhain. This annual release bottling can be enjoyed neat, the way I love it, or with a few drops of water to encourage more floral accents, a floral sense, followed by caramel and vanilla on the palate. So you can add some drops of water to any whiskey, but particularly to this whiskey to really encourage the flavour to come out. So on the tasting notes front, its colour is described as russet gold. Its nose is milk chocolate, red berries and dried fruits combined with classic Oloroso spice of cinnamon and cloves. Its palate is creamy, chocolate-covered fruit and nuts, followed by cloves, nutmeg, and a subtle saltiness. And its finish, a sweet, long finish of cocoa, cherries, and marzipan. Superb. So that's Bunnahabhain, a fabulous whiskey from a fabulous distillery, the 12-year-old cask strength sherry spiced unpeated whiskey. Now, recently I had a really interesting experience on a business level. So I was at a function recently, and as you do at functions, you start chatting to people. So on the table I was sitting at, there was a chap, let's call him Mark, who I heard he had a Scottish accent. He lives here in Australia and he's an Australian citizen. He had a slight Scottish accent. So I went and introduced myself, and I thought, I'm a lover of all things Scotland. And as soon as I introduced myself to him, "G'day, Mark, my name's Ash. Sounds like you've got a Scottish accent." "Yes, I do, Ash. I was recently in Scotland for a couple of weeks on a whiskey distillery and hiking adventure with my son." That was my opening line. To which his very next question was, "Ash, what's your favourite whiskey?" And my answer was, "Well, Mark, I can't tell you because I've got a lot of favourite whiskies, but I can tell you what my favourite distillery is." And you guessed it, Bunnahabhain. And without missing a beat, put his hand up, "Me too." So there you go. So in the matter of moments, I went from never knowing someone to the common connection being Scotland, then whiskey, then Bunnahabhain. So we both love this distillery. He's from Glasgow, obviously lives in Australia now. Now, to extend this further, what came from this meeting, and may I add, this fellow is the HR manager at a large medical-based organisation, a global organisation that's got several thousand employees in Australia. And as it turns out, the product that I coach and mentor brokers on, and this particular broker that I was spending time with, is very applicable to their employees. It's around the workplace wellness, financial fitness space. And it just so happens that he has an interest in what we have to offer. And lo and behold, now we're going to be chatting about implementing this program into his workforce. And who knows what's possible beyond there. So you just never know where a chat about whiskey might take you. And this is really the risk part of it. Take a risk. Introduce yourself to people. Start conversations. Everything starts with a conversation, which is really the takeaway that I want to emphasize from this discussion, is that just introduce yourself to people. If you're not sure what to talk about, think of something, right? In my case, I love talking about whiskey. Before you know it, we're talking about business. Before you know it, we're going to be meeting up to talk about a collaboration, and all off the back of our love of whiskey and business. So there you go. Take that away. Good whiskey, good business. Start conversations. Introduce yourself to people. You just never know where it's going to lead. Have a fabulous 2025. I'll see you on the next episode of the Whisky Business Show.